What's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be looking through all of the Treyarch Call of Duty zombie bosses. And we're only going to be going up from World at War to Cold War because I refuse to download Vanguard. It's not worth it. So anyways, to clarify, I'm not going to be counting the heavy zombies or like the armored zombies from Cold War because they're practically useless, and I don't consider them like mini bosses or whatever. But otherwise, we're gonna hit all of them. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hellhounds, our first zombie boss, being first introduced on Shinonuma, originally supposed to appear on Barucht, but developers felt it would have been too tight of a space, so they got pushed to Shinonuma. They appear on a decent amount of the Call of Duty Zombies maps, being kind of the go-to boss when they have no new ideas. Yeah, no, that sums that up. I mean, they get their own dedicated round, ends with a max ammo. They act the same in every game but Cold War. In Cold War, they kind of just run up to you and explode. And that's like literally their only purpose in that game. And to sum up the story of the Hellhound, they are pretty much Samantha Max's dog's puppies. If you didn't know, Richtofen and Maxis were using Fluffy, Samantha's dog, for teleportation experiments, leading to creating the Hellhound. And I guess she was pregnant, and that leads to all of the Hellhounds somehow. But whatever. Let's move on to our next zombies boss. Now we have the Nova 6 Crawlers introduced on Keynote Toten and also appearing in 5. There are many variants of the Nova Crawlers, but we'll get to those later. Right now we're just focusing on the base one introduced in Kino. As soon as you turn on the power, they start fucking breaking down the building. In multiple rooms, you'll see them just fucking hitting shit on the ceiling, like breaking holes in it, so they start crawling through, right? The only benefit to this enemy is that if you kill them in a horde of zombies, it will also kill those zombies, which is very helpful in these earlier games when it was actually difficult to play zombies. But if you get hit by their gas, you get a little a blurred effect. You can't really see well. If you're right on top of them when they die, it does do, I think, probably like a hit of damage, give or take. That pretty much sums up the Nova Crawler. I mean, they were a failed Group 935 experiment, and while looking up stuff for this video, apparently they're part pig. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's something I saw. Anyways, let's move on. And now we have the Pentagon Thief, who only appears in the map 5. The Pentagon Thief, in my opinion, is one of the scarier bosses, even now. But definitely as a kid, it was terrifying. Like, hearing the noises this dude makes as he chases you trying to steal your guns, terrifying. I know there's some like heavy story info on him, but I'm not too sure about it. I kind of get lost in it. But yeah, as I said, he literally just takes your guns. He doesn't down you, he doesn't kill you, he just takes your guns. But if you kill him before he takes your guns, you get a bonfire sale, making your pack-a-punch only $1,000 instead of $5,000, which is pretty cool. It's a shame that the Pentagon Thief wasn't in Classified, which is literally just a remaster of 5. Come to think of it, it's not that much of a surprise that they decided to just not add him. But anyways, we're going to start moving on to our next boss. Now we have the Space Monkeys, or the Zombie Monkeys from Shangri-La, only appearing on those 2 maps. Not counting like the one you see in the Dark Ether indie machine. But In Ascension and Shangri-La, they act very differently. In Ascension, their main goal is to steal your perk and just be a nuisance. The only benefit to having these space monkeys on Ascension is that if you kill them without them touching a perk machine, you will get a free perk drop on top of the max ammo that you already get, because they're pretty much the dog round equivalent of this map. But in Ascension, they, instead of stealing your perks, they steal your drops. And you can kind of manipulate what drop you end up getting those. So, in a way, I guess they both have their benefits, but it's a little obnoxious when you get smacked and then stunned in Shangri-La in such a tight area. Also in Ascension, they like to, if they steal all your perks and they start attacking you, they have this ground slam attack that stuns you. Now we have our first map with a celebrity cast, including our first and only celebrity boss, George Romero. While doing research for a World War II movie, George Romero came across some Nazi documents, including information of 115. That piqued his interest, so, you know, that's kind of like how Call of the Dead happened. And while on set for the movie, right, in the intro cutscene, it shows that a real zombie comes out of fucking nowhere and then literally steals this 6'4" man and zombifies him. Don't really get it, but he walks around the maps. He's pretty much there to prevent you from like camping in a spot. Makes training a little more difficult. He runs around with his little light, smacks the fuck out of you, and then he gets mad. He throws a tantrum. Or, back in the day when little Timmy decided it would be really funny to shoot George over and over and over again. Doing this would really make George unhappy. He would start to yell, he'll shake the screen. He slams down, it stuns anybody around him. Actually, it stuns anybody wherever they are, which is why little Timmy's loved to do it. But on the bright side, you can kill him. I think he goes away for a round or two and then comes back, but definitely easier to kill in the fan-made remastered compared to the original map. But that sums up George Romero. I think he's a very unique boss. I think it was cool to introduce a celebrity as one. And continuing our long list of zombie bosses, next we have the Screecher zombie from Shangri-La. Literally all he does is fucking run at you at like super speeds and scream in your face, and it blurs your vision. I want to say it does damage. I don't really know. I didn't do enough research. But he's a relatively easy boss, minus the running really quick on the super tight map, but that's pretty much what he does. And then immediately after that, on the same map, we have the Napalm zombie. Another really cool zombie boss idea. He literally just walks slowly around the map until he gets close to you, and then he'll explode, leaving a little fiery, I don't know, fucking patch. And when zombies walk into that, they die. So that's pretty helpful when it comes to a zombie boss. I mean, minus the fact that he can pretty much get you to a one hit when he hits you, when he explodes. But that's all I really know about them. So we got our final Black Ops 1 boss up next. Alright, to end our Black Ops 1 zombie bosses, we have the Astronaut from Moon, who only appears on the map Moon. So he's also one of the most mysterious boss zombies we have, because when you're near him, you can hear this like radio chatter, and I don't know if it's been figured out, but I remember when Zombies Chronicles came out, people were trying to figure out like what was it meaning, what were they saying. So he's very mysterious. We don't know who he is. In Black Ops 1, when he spawned in, he would have a name of someone on your friends list, which definitely brings back some memories. But on Black Ops 3, instead of that, he will have dev names, like as you can see, like Jason Blundell, literally the head of zombies at the time. So the astronaut pretty much just fucking walks around slowly until he eventually catches up to you, and he will headbutt you, taking one of your perks. And if you don't hear him, you might accidentally run into him and get hit by him. And if that happens, he'll teleport you to a random spot, possibly into zombies, leaving you to get hit because you're beat red and you can't do anything about it. But that ends off our Black Ops 1 bosses. Let's move on to Black Ops 2 finally. Black Ops 2 starts us off pretty strong with a fan favorite, the Denizens. The Denizens are these annoying alien-like creatures that fucking lurk in the fog. All we know about them is that they were created by Broken Arrow, considering Transit is a Broken Arrow facility. We don't know who Broken Arrow are. They are pretty much the American equivalent of Group 935. The way they attack you is by chasing you in the fog and jumping on your head just to fucking scratch your eyes out, I guess. Really felt like they were just there to slow you down. Super obnoxious. It made the map, it just made it unfun. I have no other way to put it. The only way to kill the Denizens is by either shooting them before they get on your head, shooting them off your teammate's head, or just knifing repeatedly until they die. And they're super obnoxious. And hope I never see them return. Then that leads us to the Avogadro, who's also featured on Transit. He also appears in Alpha Omega as a boss. Story behind the Avogadro is super complicated, but I'm going to try to sum it up. Alpha Omega reveals that it's Cornelius Purnell, who, if you didn't know, was actually a World War II handler who took care of Peter McCain. He's actually the person that sent the group to Verrückt, which was led by Tank Dempsey. So he was already pretty high up there. Eventually, he found some research of Samantha Maxis, and he found this research from Dr. Groff, who was the lead scientist at Griffin Station, also known as Moon. The result of this leads to Purnell asking the U.S. government for more funding to do more research on this Element 115 that they didn't know too much about. Getting approved for the funding, that led to the creation of Broken Arrow. So he is the sole creator. To sum this up, Purnell started doing some experiments on himself with Dr. Hall. And while doing some experiments with the elemental shard, which is very important to the storyline in Alpha Omega, he turned himself into the Avogadro. The Avogadro in Alpha Omega is more powerful than the one in Transit, because in Alpha Omega we defeat him and we send him to the Hanford site, which is also known as Transit. So somehow that he loses his powers. I don't know. He's just weaker. Whatever. Let's move on. Diarise ended up introducing another new dog round type boss, and they're known as either the Leapers or Jumping Jacks. Jumping Jacks do as they say. They literally will teleport in short little spurts in, once again, a small area. And they just jump around the room until they eventually hit you, or, whatever. They're terrifying. I shit myself getting the gameplay for this. And the model takes after the Nova 6 crawlers from Black Ops 1. They only appear on Die Rise. And they're really easy to kill, though. So it's not like it's not like they're a hard boss. They're just not fun to fight, in my opinion. But if you get 100% accuracy on the round on top of the max ammo, you'll end up getting a perk drop, which is really cool. I really enjoyed when they did this back in the day. I remember literally like probably like within the first week of this map dropping, my friends and I figured out how to build the trample steam, and we would all put our trample steams down in the corner and let them just fucking run right into them. And it was like for some reason that was like the creepiest but most fun round. I felt I enjoyed Die Rise when it came out, but also I was younger, very easily entertained. So going back to Die Rise now, oh, it wasn't fun. But I do look forward to the remaster that is going to be coming towards the end of the year. And now we have our first Jason Blundell boss, the Warden. The Warden is featured on both Blood of the Dead and Mob of the Dead. Again, there's a whole backstory with the Warden that can be talked about in a separate video. I'm going to try to refrain this time. So, what the Warden does, Brutus, he runs around either disabling buildables, the box location, and perk machines, causing you to have to spend $2,000 to unlock them. Also forgot to mention, he's also a playable character in Blackout, which I think is really cool. Very underrated. I loved playing as the zombie bosses in Blackout. Otherwise, all he does is just run around and hit you with his club. I mean, nothing else to it. Let's move on. Up next we have, in my opinion, the scariest boss zombie that we've ever had in zombies history. Treyarch. I don't know about Infinite Warfare or Sledgehammer or whatever. I don't know. Fuck the witches. They are terrifying. I remember when the map came out, I have this distinct memory where my friend and I went through the house, went back out, he died, and they followed me out of the house, and I shit myself. I literally had to pause the game and like take a second. Anyways, when you sit next to your house, you can hear her like murmuring and like just not fully making words, but she's saying some shit. It's creepy. I don't fuck with it. What they do is they sit in the house and they take your money. They hit you and take your money. But every time you go through the house, you do get a free perk after, which is pretty lit. And a fun little fact is that she's actually apparently the parent to Jebediah Brown, which is how she fits in with the whole storyline, which feels kind of filler. But Jebediah Brown is the one who created the Pack-a-Punch. I'm pretty sure the Keepers. The Keepers appeared in his dream and identified themselves as angels, and the angels said that he needs to build this like great machine that would grant him some power. But that sums up the witches. The creepiest shit. I would shit my pants if I saw them on another map if they were executed properly. But let's move on to our final Black Ops 2 boss. And finally, to end Black Ops 2, we have the Panzer Soldat, who appears on Origins and DE and Revelations. And then there's the What the fuck is it called? How the fuck do you pronounce that? The Krosny Soldat. That's how I'm gonna say it. Which is literally just cut and paste, and this one's just Russian instead of German. The Panzer Soldat suit was actually originally created by Edward Richtofen, and he created it to help them contain more of the Element 1 and 5, since it was new in this dimension that Origins takes place in. Don't know the origin of the Kranzy Soldat. I don't care, to be honest. And I'm not putting a separate section for it. They are literally the same thing. One's Russian, one's German. The Russian one's more aggressive. I mean, has a flamethrower, can't hook you. But speaking of, let's talk about the attacks of the Panzer Soldat. The Panzer in Origins has a hook and a flamethrower. The hook literally will latch out and grab you, pull you to him so he can burn you alive. Instead of having a hook arm in Denizens, he he actually has these like shock sticks, pretty much. He shoots them, like tries to like predict where you go, and he shoots them, and they shock you when you run over them. What a surprise! But he also keeps his flamethrower in that map, and that's how it is in Revelations as well. And let's finally move on to our Black Ops 3 bosses. Up next, we have our first Apothecan boss being introduced on Shadows of Evil. He is a three-headed beast under the Shadow Man's control. His attacks mainly include this annoying ground slam that can put you down in one hit and makes you beat red with Juggernaut. The best way to kill him, obviously, I mean the only way to kill him, is to aim at his heads when he has them open. Getting 500 points per head, which is really nice, and then 1,000 with double points. The Margwa also appears on Revelations with elemental variants of himself, the Fire and the Void variant. The Void variant will literally shoot skulls at you like the Derizen bow, and it's kind of the same thing with the Fire element. They're pretty much just ripped straight from those bows. But that's really all I have to say about the Margwa. But right after that, we have the Parasites, who are also on Shadows of Evil and Revelations, also being Apothecan, controlled by the Shadow Man, right? This acts as our dog round in this new story we got going on. They are these flying alien-like creatures that will shoot you with yellow liquid. Wow. Yeah, no, they're kind of annoying. Especially like I've had times where like I'll be playing with 3 other people and they just target me and I just get hit by all of them back to back and I go down. It's not fun, but in Revelations they're exactly the same, but they're red, so that makes them different. But no, that's pretty much the gist of the Parasites. While editing this video, I forgot there's another fucking boss. The meatballs in Shadows of Evil, another Apothecan boss. Completely forgot. They're reskin wraps for multiplayer and campaign. They're the exact same thing. Anyways, here's this JPEG. Enjoy. These are the meatballs. They're only in Shadows of Evil. And now we have everybody's favorite zombie boss, the Thrasher, who appears only on Zetsubo no Shima. Thank God. So this boss spawns from spores on the map. So like if a spore pops, there's a good chance that that zombie will turn into a Thrasher. The Thrashers are pretty much a creation of Division 9 while they attempted to create a line of soldiers to deploy. Obviously that didn't go well. What a surprise. Their attacks include shooting the player with spores, and they obviously have an up-close attack where they will just hit you. And this boss can also consume you, whether you're playing solo and you're down or co-op and you're down. When you're playing co-op, they will literally put you inside their stomach and run around and chase your friends. Excuse me. And the best way to really kill them is by shooting the spores on their body or using the KT4. KT4 really puts them down quick. They are super annoying because there's so many of them that can spawn at one time. Like I remember when, I don't know if they changed it, but I mean when I was playing, I think I had like 2 or 3 after me at once. There would be like maybe 5 to 6 per round that would just spawn, and it was just a little too much, you know. That's all I have to say about the Thrasher. And of course for this boss, my recording corrupted and I didn't want to go back in. So we had the Spider, which is just the dog round, and Zetsubo. The Spiders drop max ammo at the end of the round. Pretty cool. I'm tight because I shit my pants on this round, actually, when I recorded it, so that's really unfortunate. But they are kind of like the Parasites, but on the ground, and they shoot webs at you, and they will block out doorways. And they also appear on the inside of the Apothecan in Revelations. Up next, we have the Russian Mangler Soldier from Gorod Krovi. He also appears on Firebase Z in the Outbreak mode in Cold War. Pretty much, he has a energy cannon as an arm. He could just shoot you with it. And then on his other arm, he has 2 sickles where he can do his close-up attacks. I actually really like this boss. I think it's a very fun boss to fight. He's not too difficult, not too easy, you know, right in the middle. Really fit the atmosphere of Gorod Krovi, you know, being in Stalingrad and stuff. He also has a few quotes that are really cool, I think. But Cold War, I think he acts a little bit differently. I feel like his cannon shots are actually like homing rockets, and it's kind of annoying to fight in Gorod Krovi. I mean, in Cold War. But this boss was created through experiments. It seems to just be a trend now, huh? A lot of originality going on. You can shoot his arm off, and then that's when he'll start running towards you, and that's when he'll mainly be using the sickles to kill you. Yeah, no, and then after that, we actually have the Valkyrie drones, which also appear on Gorod Krovi, and only Gorod Krovi. They act just like dog rounds. You can shoot off all their arms, and then they'll like fucking spaz out, and then they'll just shoot at you, charge at you, and explode. Or you can just shoot off all their plates in the front, and then they will explode. They are a very easy boss. I feel like in the higher rounds, when they start spawning in those electrified zombies, though, it gets a little difficult. But otherwise, I think Gorod Krovi had a solid amount of bosses. Again, I forgot another boss. So the last boss of Black Ops 3 is the Fury. They spawn when you're trying to do the like ritual equivalent. That's been in like almost every map. Nothing really special to them. They're pretty weak. Eventually, they start spawning in with zombies and with parasites on the second parasite round. Yeah, no, the most they do is just run over zombies and make it a little inconvenient, but they're not that bad of a boss. And to start off Black Ops 4, we're going to split off this section of the video into 2 separate parts because we got the Chaos story and the Ether story. We're going to start off with the Chaos story because I dislike the Chaos story. I dislike the bosses more, so I'd rather just get them out of the way. So that leads us to 9. We're going to start off with the bosses that appear on 9. The Destroyer from 9 is going to be the first boss I'd talk about. He is an enemy who likes to throw axes at you. He's like a gladiator type zombie. He throws the axes for the range attacks. Best way to kill him is shooting the armor off the head and then shooting the head. I don't really have much to say about the Chaos bosses. I wasn't into 9. Unpopular opinion, not my favorite map off this game. But yeah, no. After that, we have the I don't even, how the fuck do you pronounce that? So, apparently it's pronounced Marauders. We got the Marauders up next. They are a more aggressive boss compared to the 2. They're way easier to kill, though. They have less health, but they are more of an aggressive, like, kind of rush boss. They will just... They can literally jump far, like, far away towards you. I hope that made sense. Anyways... They can jump towards you, and they have this melee attack where they just will fucking like hit you like 3-4 times. They're more. I think they're annoying. Again, not a fan of the chaos maps, bosses, whatever. Then also on 9 we have the Tigers, and they're just reskinned Hellhounds. I mean, they're a little cool. They scratch your screen up. I remember they had to get nerfed because they could fucking one hit you when the game first came out. But they only appear on 9. That's all I have to say about the Tigers. And now we have a kind of beefy boss up next. We have the Blightfather. He appears on 9, Voyage, Ancient Evil, and he will spawn at the box location in the graveyard near Verrucht in Blackout, which I think is really cool. I wish they introduced more bosses like that into Blackout. I really enjoyed Blackout. I think that's what got me through Black Ops 4, to be honest, like a lot of other people. Similar to Brutus, he will disable traps by throwing up on them, but I think it cost a lot less than it did when Brutus would like lock the box or lock the buildable tables and stuff. best way to kill this guy is very similar to the Thrasher, and that is to shoot the like fucking the shit on his back. I don't know, what do you call them? Fucking scales, scars. I don't know what they are. But yeah, no, he has a homing vomit attack, which is super obnoxious and annoying to fight. He can grab you with his tongue and bring you forward to hit you with some melee attacks. But no, that sums up the Blightfather. And now we talk about another one of my least favorite additions to Black Ops 4, which are the Catalyst zombies. There are 4 variants of these Catalyst zombies. We got the fire one, the water one, the poison one, and the lightning one. They're all annoying. Don't care. The fire Catalyst is just a napalm zombie, but it's chaos storyline instead. The water catalyst zombie will roam a little further away from the player. I think they can create other water zombies if I'm not wrong. That's really it for them. Then we have the poison catalyst, who literally just deals poison damage when they're close to you. And then the lightning catalyst, they are the only catalyst with a long-range attack. They will scream at you when they see you. They will scream, and like similar to the Shrieker zombie from Shangri-La. They can blind your vision and deafen you a little bit, and that effect won't stop until you either kill them or you walk away from them, because apparently they only scream when you walk towards them. And to not forget this, all Chaos maps include Catalyst zombies, which I think really brought down some of the maps. Like Dead of the Night and Ancient Evil, I think, would have benefited from not having them at all, because I enjoyed those maps, but the Catalyst zombies really ruined the experience for me personally. Now, this boss only appears on Voyage of Despair. It is known as the Stoker. These are supposed to be zombified versions of the Titanic's crew. They are armed with a shovel, and they can shoot fireballs at the player for some reason. And they have weak points that are revealed after shooting off the coal that is being fused with their body, which can... the coal pretty much stands as a armor for them. Not much to say about them. I actually kind of forgot they were a boss and almost didn't include them. That's all I have to say about that. Alright, Dead of the Night introduces us to the werewolves and the Nosferatus and the Crimson Nosferatus. Which, fuck the Crimson ones. Fuck them. Useless. We didn't need them. The werewolf will first appear when you open the forest to Pack-a-Punch. I personally think the werewolf is super annoying to fight. I don't like the idea of having to build the silver bullets to have to kill him. I feel like any gun should be able to kill a zombie's boss, right? So, I mean, it's a little annoying. His attacks are what you would expect from a werewolf in every way. He's a tanky boss, unless you have those silver bullets. And then also on Dead of the Night we have Nosferatus and the Crimson Nosferatus, which are just red versions of them. I'll pop a image on screen because I refuse to play until round 35 on that map to get them. They're just vampires. They will scratch up your, they'll scratch you, and then that will delay your health regen. The regular Nosferatus anyway. The Crimson Nosferatus have a unique animation where they will jump on you, bite your neck, and yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I mean, they're a little more aggressive, they're stronger, they're not affected by insta-kill. They're annoying. Remove them. Starting off with our final Chaos map, we have the Skeletons, or I think it's like Spartoi. I don't know. They're not regular skeletons, alright? They are Greek warrior skeletons. There's a huge difference. They have shields, they have helmets, alright? The only way to kill them is by shooting their head. That's it. Kind of lackluster. Could have gone without them, because I think in the later rounds they get pretty annoying. Not that unique. I could have gone without them. Now up, a more unique boss, we have the Gigantes. He is a 6-armed giant that spawns in, well, can spawn in when you do the when you pick up the golden bridle. They have a sword and a shield for the close range attacks, but they also can throw spears at you, which will leave a flash. They will literally flash you and blind you as the player in Call of Duty Zombies. I don't like that. Again, I know this isn't I'm not ranking them, but fuck that, you know? Overall, I mean, they're a cool idea for a boss, but I don't like that they can flash you. That really kind of kills that boss for me, personally. Now, returning to our ether side of things, we have on Alpha Omega our first reskinned boss. We have the Jolting Jacks. Take a guess at what they do. They will sit on top of rooftops in Nuketown, or Camp Edward, as apparently that's what it's supposed to be. And they will have their long-ranged lightning attack. That's it. They look like Nova Crawlers, but they're lightning instead. They're electrified for some reason. And then ironically, also on Alpha Omega, we have the Nova 6 Bombers, which once again, they are just reskinned Nova 6 crawlers that can make zombies stronger. And I'm not trying to be negative, but it's hard not to be when it feels lazy and like there wasn't passion behind it. It's like, oh, we just need to add another boss just to have one, right? And then also we have Lightning Hounds, which are Hellhounds, but they're blue. So it's new and unique and different. I have nothing else to say about these Black Ops 4 bosses. It honestly just makes me upset to think about how just they didn't have passion to create something new for this 10-year story that just, I don't know, it's disappointing. That's all I have to say about it. But on the bright side, we get to move on to some very cool bosses. I mean, bosses that I personally enjoy. D-Machine introduces us to the Megaton. What a great boss to start a new Zombies game with. I remember watching the trailer for Cold War Zombies reveal and seeing the Megaton. I was like, wow, that boss looks like it's going to put up a fight. Like, it looks like it wouldn't be too annoying to fight against. So his attacks really include just shooting radioactive blasts at you. He can obviously fucking punch the hell out of you when you get close to him. This massive boss in a fucking hazmat suit. Yeah, no, I like it. Especially when you kill him, because when you kill him, he splits into two mini bosses, I would say. We got the Megaton Bomber and the Megaton Blaster. Obviously, the Megaton Bomber has bomb attacks to shoot you, and then the Megaton Blaster will have these, like, 3-shot blast at you. As long as you have the Gallo, honestly, at any point, this boss is very easy to take down. But very, very fun to fight against. He appears in D-Machine and Outbreak. Very great boss. I love it. That's all I have to say. And then the creativity keeps flowing. We have the Mimic. I feel like this boss is super fitting for Cold War. I mean, with Treyarch adding the new ground loot system, it adds a bit of, I don't know if I would say fear, but, you know, like, you got to be on your toes a little bit. So the Mimic will disguise itself as kill streaks, grenades, whatever, right? And when you try to go pick up that item, he will pop up and scare the fuck out of you. I've gotten scared plenty of times by this dude, and that's awesome. I feel like that's what a zombie boss should be doing. But pretty much he will chase you and try to hit you, or he can grab you with, I don't know what he grabs you with, but he grabs you with something. He'll He'll grab you, pull you in, and he will take a nice bite out of you. Cool boss. I like it. We can move on to our next one. Alright, I get this boss is kind of boss fight like boss, and I wasn't going to include any, but he is in Firebase Z. We got the Orda, who was first revealed in a D-Machine Easter egg, and everybody was like, I remember the hype around it. Everybody was so stoked, like, because like this boss was massive. Like Origin fucking robots, massive. He first appeared on the round 30 survival wave thing in Firebase Z. You fight him, which I unfortunately failed when trying to get gameplay for this. He also appears in Outbreak. There's obviously more than one of him. He's an elder god, apparently. Apparently he was one of the Dark Ether gods that was ruling over the Dark Ether until the Forsaken came along and took over. He can attack shooting Hellhounds out of his hand, and he has this deadly beam attack that he can shoot through his fucking face. It's cool. And then while he's doing that, if you can hit him, you can do more damage on him. I really hope to see more of this boss, or more bosses like this. I mean, there's so many places they can go with him. I would love a more in-depth story on Orda. And this is when the zombie bosses start to lose me a little bit. We have the Tempest, first introduced on Outbreak and later being added to Mauerdertonen. The Tempest is just a reskin of the Avogadro. Maybe he's a little more powerful, I feel. I don't know. I could have gone without this boss, honestly. I could have been perfectly fine if this boss was never introduced. But also on Mauer, we have the Tormentors and Disciples. So let's get started with the Tormentors first. They are pretty much, I thought there was like a zombie boss like this in World War II zombies, but I apparently couldn't find any info on it. They're pretty much suicide bombers. They will run up to you and they will explode, sort of like the Hellhounds do in Cold War. But instead of leaving a fiery like pit, they just fucking blow up and deal a lot of damage to you. They do get their own dog round. They do leave a max ammo after defeating them. They're a pretty legit box. I'm okay with them. I enjoy them. I like the look of them. And then finally we have the Disciple. It was alright. Again, another boss I could have really gone without. So the goal of the Disciple is to make zombies around it more powerful, aggressive, that type of thing. We've already talked about this thing before. They can shoot the player directly though. It's not like they only do that. They do have this beam that can drain your health, which is cool. But I don't really have much else to say about this boss, and I think that's where this video will end. I lied. We have one more boss, because there's a lot of bosses I just entirely forgot existed. So now we have the Abomination, which is literally like this fucking Apothecan mixed with like a dog. It literally has the 3 heads of a Margwa, but it's on it like fucking 2 legs or some shit. I don't know. It's weird. Only appears on Forsaken, to my knowledge. I don't know much about this boss. I just needed to include it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit longer, but I wanted to make this video because I enjoy zombies and I like going back to see how these bosses evolved, whether they were added onto or the new ones. If I missed any bosses, please let me know down below in the comment section. If you want more content like this, please leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you would want to see. I would love to start getting into some storyline videos of certain bosses or storyline in general, because I enjoy Treyarch zombies, and who knows, maybe I'll start checking out some of the Infinite Warfare stuff and Sledgehammer stuff. Maybe not Sledgehammer stuff, but at least Infinite Warfare. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and I hope to see you in a later video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Peace.